Ever wonder what really goes on inside an investor's mind? Welcome to the Angels Brief podcast. Each week, we sit down for honest, unfiltered conversations about their decision-making process, their biggest wins, their worst nightmares, and everything in between. Just real talk about what it takes to spot the next big thing. This podcast is co-hosted by Tim Moore, the CEO of Clixie.ai, and Doron York, the CEO of CitySide Ventures and the co-founder of Birmingham Angels. So, let's get inside their heads.
Hey, Tim, happy Monday to you, too. How was your weekend?
It was outstanding. It's actually nice that it's getting warm. It's 47 degrees. I should have shorts on, right?
Yeah, I came, my wife bought us this membership in this massage place, Lux, whatever the thing is.
Sure.
So after kind of sweating my ass off this weekend to overcome whatever the bug is, so I went this morning to take a massage, and they asked you want a male or female? I said male. And this guy, he knows what he's doing.
Nice.
It was an hour and 15 minutes that you think a massage, you think pleasure.
Oh.
It was painful for an hour and 15 minutes, but I feel like I'm on cloud nine. In any case, welcome to a new episode of the Angels Brief. And today we decide to talk about, as a lot of founders that we met in the conferences and keep asking us, like, what is a perfect pitch?
Yes.
So let's talk about the perfect pitch.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot out there with a lot of different data about what makes a good pitch, and I think that it was you that really made me laugh because you told me you could tell where a company had been through their accelerator by how they pitched according to their pitch deck. So what do you think it is that makes most pitches fail?
Well, I think it's a combination of a few things, but fundamentally,
right.
Most, and I'm not by any means try to offend any of the founders that are actually doing a good job, but most founder that I was listening to never been in a public space. They never did a lot of public speaking. They didn't speak in front of people. And unfortunately, like anything else in life, if you're playing baseball or hockey or pitching investors, it requires a lot of practice. And you can tell that those founders didn't practice. They think that they somehow can stand in front of the room and kind of wing it through the heart of the investors. So that's one, it's lack of practice. Two is because you never done it before, you relying on other people to tell you this is the template you need to use. So you can tell that the founder is actually using a template that he didn't design and own. It's like not his, it's like somebody else's. So sometimes it's funny, I talked to somebody this morning. Sometimes I can see a pitch by a founder that it looks like not necessarily a good one or a bad one, but you can tell it's not a template. He just made it up.
Right.
I can appreciate it a little bit more that somebody actually made something up and actually put some thought into it versus cut and paste, right? Because like we talk about it, the famous slide in every pitch presentation is the size of the market, right? So as far as my concern, it doesn't matter what your business is. You can use the same goddamn slide, right? It's 9 billion people on the planet. We already know that. So that's, and the third is the founders let somebody else put the pitch together. And they not 100% own the data on the pitch deck.
So they're just repeating. They're not actually believing what they're saying. They're just regurgitating something that's been repeated to them in this case. And so they're not owning any of the data themselves. They don't have any conviction with it in this case.
Right. When I say own the data, it's kind of, knowing it to the degree that it's also you kind of the source of the data. I mean, it's clear where it's coming from. And many times you can see the nuances that the founder look at the pitch deck and then he can make a comment like, I'm sorry, this is a new deck. I wasn't, what do you mean? I mean, you were presenting and presenting this pitch to me, and you surprised by some of the changes on the pitch deck?
So out of curiosity, what would you recommend as the best way to practice for a pitch? I know I have my ways of doing it, but what would you recommend?
Well, first of all, I think every founder that is planning to be on the road for a while raising money, if it's a pre-seed seed and then maybe Series A and B, but you're going to be on the road for a while raising money. Take a coach, especially somebody that's familiar with public speaking or being in a public conversations, and make it like you go to the gym in the morning and you do your workout. Spend half an hour a day in front of the camera or in front of the mirror and practice.
Yeah.
And just practice.
Yeah.
And practice more.
Yeah.
And then to a degree that you practice to a point that you really don't need to look at what's on the pitch deck because you are speaking from and inside of everything that's over there. So that's kind of like, and sometimes and other things one of the things we found interesting that founders overcompensate by excitements and passion. So here's the saying for all the founders out there: excitements and passion are the fuel, not the engine.
Makes sense.
Which means that you need to put this excitement and passion inside of an engine. Otherwise, it's just burning gas.
It doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can get me with excitement so far,
Mm-hmm.
but then there have to be something beyond that.
Right. Yeah. You have to be excited about something tangible that you're presenting, and then excited, and then you should be excited about it at that point.
Right.
So would you consider that one of the common mistakes or things that people fail at when they're doing presentations is something like that, maybe putting too much information in where they should shut up?
So one of the things that I kind of put in an outline, from my perspective, at least, it's not to truth people. I mean, there's other people with other opinion and other approaches,
Mm-hmm.
but the pitches that I seen that were able to generate interest or even convert to commitment at some point, it's the one that one common mistake in every pitch, by the way, is that often you see the investor listen to the pitch and some way halfway through, they kind of look at each other like, what did they do? Kind of thing. So first thing, first slide, first sentence in the pitch need to be a description of your business. We are a software development company that developing a SaaS platform for retailers. Okay. It's like you're driving and you see the sign, a coffee shop, a Mediterranean restaurants. I mean, tell me what you don't see a sign on the side of the road, restaurant. Okay.
Not very descriptive, is
Right.
it?
It's like, okay.
So you have food. What kind of food? What do you
Right.
open? I mean, yeah.
So the first thing that I need to see as an investor is the sign of your business. What is this that you do?
Right on.
The second one is you want to tell me about the vision of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a mix of vision and mission together kind of thing.
Okay.
So we are a software company developing SaaS software for retailers. Our vision is that we will be able to allow restaurateur to shave 20% of the cost of turnaround of whatever it is. Okay, I get it. So retail software business for retailers or restaurants, and then this is the vision. Great. The third one, which is the most important to me, is the team. I mean, I want to know who's behind the company. So because if you are the only one standing in front of me pitching the business and I don't know who's else behind you, I see one man in a truck.
100%.
And then there's a saying in ontology, the art of being, they say context is decisive.
Interesting. I like that. Okay.
What I mean by that the context which you're operating from and inside of, it's the deciding factor of the reality around you. So, the context you're creating for me as a one-man pitching the business is like, okay, you are one founder with some ideas and stuff. So that's just the context. But if you put the team with 10 people behind you, the context become that big.
Yes.
And it's decisive. So I'm listening either depending on the personality of the investor, I'm either listening from why not to invest, or I'm listening, give me a reason to invest. So either way, you need to walk me through this journey, right?
Right.
So I'm now looking, wow, look at all these people behind the company.
Right.
So now whatever you said to me, I can listen in a bigger context. Right.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's actually based off of the conversations that you and I had. I reorganized my pitch deck because you're 100% right. That's actually, I liked closing with that because it showed the strength. But when I talked to you about it, it was so clear to me. And absolutely, these are the people who I'm standing on their shoulders to be in front of you today. These are the people that are going to help me execute. It's not, I'm not a lone wolf up here. Please continue.
No, so you presenting and representing this team of people.
Well said.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then one slide should be the problem statement,
Mm-hmm.
and make it like a one sentence, whatever it is. It's that, most software program out there that used by retailers right now are too expensive and too clunky and not friendly. Okay, I get it.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree or don't agree on the problem, but state the problem in a very clear way. And then what's your solution? Yeah. And by the way, state the problem and how big it is.
Yeah.
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 Because the fact that you think it's a problem doesn't mean it is a problem.
Exactly.
And how are you going to solve it? What's your unique way to solve it? And I'm not talking about getting under the hood and tell me all the technical blah, 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 blah. Just in a high level, how we're going to solve it is by introducing a new UI that works on a mobile, on the go, and it's going to be half the cost and 10 times faster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. And then if you want to give me a product showcase, if it's a software or it's an app or it's something, I mean, do one slide with visuals. Here's the mobile version, here's the web version, but you don't have to get to the technical blah,
No.
blah. You have the line, here's the link to the technical
No
blah,
feature
blah.
dumping.
Yeah.
Just tell me the highlights, right? Yeah.
And then tell me about the market, not the size of the market. Tell me what is your market.
There you go.
Like what is the specific target market that you're going to go after?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we know there's 9 billion people on the planet. We know the market is this and that. Okay, I'm going to go after retailers that have less than 2 locations and less than 10 people. And tell me specifically. And then what's your business model? How do we make money? That's what I want to know.
Go to market, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
but it's not even go to market. It's like, what is your business model? Is this a SaaS? Is this
Mhm.
pay as you go? Is this in license? I mean, like, how do we make money?
Yes.
How many customers we need to make money? Because I'm thinking, I give you $1 million, you're going to make $25 for every customer as you're bringing in. It's going to take me 37 years to get my money back. So
Exactly.
that's how the investor thinks.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then the most important things, give me the roadmap. Not the roadmap history of what you did, but more like, this is what we're going to accomplish by when, here's our milestone, and this is how we're going to do it.
Nice. Okay.
Not, we like to do it, we think we can. I mean, like, how are you going to do it? And then the last slide, in my opinion, humble opinion, need to be the raise, very detailed. I'm raising $2 million. It's a convertible note. It's 20% discount, 8% interest, and here's how I'm going to use the capital. Because the end of the day, I can go house hunting, and I can walk to a house that look gorgeous, and yeah, I would like to live here, and yes, I can imagine myself here, but $6 million out of my price tag.
Right on.
So
Yeah.
I need to know at the end of the day that everything you just walked me through, how much it's going to cost me,
Right.
and I need to know if it's fit my wallet or not.
Of course.
So don't leave me suspense by, oh, if somebody wants to talk to us, we can talk offline. I mean, why do you want to drag me to another meeting without telling me the house is going to cost $6 million?
Yeah.
Well, too much for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Makes
And
sense.
you don't want to waste your time either.
No.
So, and the end of the day, I'm looking at pitches, and then I'm looking at the price tag in the bottom, and say, okay, those 4 is my price tag. Those 4 is out of my price tag, and then lets me focus on those. So you have to tell me. Not every investor has the same pocket.
No, but you actually you alluded a couple, or you omitted a couple slides that I have heard other people mention, just so I can get back to those and get your opinion on those. How do you feel about a competitor slide?
The comparator slide, it could add some benefit, to understand. I will tell you this. This is, again, my humble opinion. Every company has competitors.
Always.
Nobody can tell me I don't have any. We're the only one doing it. So with that case, is this critical? Is this critical in decision making? Know your competitors. If I'm only going to do due diligence, for me, no. But it's not going to hurt to have a slide with a competitor. Here's my competitors, and this is the difference between them. it's 50-50 for me. It doesn't add value. It doesn't take value away.
It can be good or can be bad depending. It could be depending. Okay. And then the other thing I was going to ask is how.
No, but you know what? If you put a competitive slide and some of your competitors is Facebook and Apple and Google, you have a problem.
Siemens, Cisco, you might as well just leave the business now, right? You're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
Well, the other thing as I was thinking of as we were talking about it is I like the way that you said structure at the end where the ask is at the end, because that's what you want to leave people with. The final thing is I need this much money and this is what I'm going to do with it. What I didn't hear you say is the exit. And sometimes people can say, we'd like to know where you plan, just so that we understand you are thinking about an exit. Because I don't put a lot of stock personally in comps in our spaces. You can put them up there, but businesses are so different. It's not like comparing houses for sale in your subdivision.
I would tell you this. Obviously, if we decide to invest in a company, we'll investigate the horizon for an exit in the company.
Of course.
But I'm a big subscriber to Mark Cuban's approach that he said, build it as you intend to keep it, and somebody will buy it along the way.
There you go.
So yes, we want you to exit. Yes. Is this the only reason we invest is because we're going to push you to exit? No. I know that if you build the right company, the exit will come.
Yes.
To tell me right now that the last 6 companies sold for 150 million, some indication that you may be one of those companies, I doubt it. But it's irrelevant. You can mention that we are exploring an exit within 3 to 4 years, and maybe say something about it, but start putting some numbers behind it. For me, it's misleading the investors.
Oh, I like that.
I talked to a few investors that kind of left with a bitter taste. The company pitched us 4 years ago, and they said they're going to exit with 250 million, blah, blah, blah. And the investor kind of, oh, wow, this is a hell of a deal. Nobody can guarantee an exit. Neither the founder, nobody else. So you can say, listen, we're building it because we intend in one point to exit to a bigger player, but we can't guarantee anything.
Well, and I mean, in the style of exit, there's so many different ways to exit in a business with M&A. I mean, you can get acquired in whole or in part, or there's so many different things. You could merge, you can do an IPO. I mean, you can get bought, whatever. So it's hard to say with any real accuracy. So I think sometimes it's more of a wish list. This is what I would like to see happen on an exit, but that's not, there's no guarantees.
Every founder that I ever talked to, somewhere in the back of their head is that we'll have somebody write me a big check.
Yes.
Yes, we all want that. We hope that it's going to happen.
Sure.
But is this a hook you want to put in front of the investors to convince them to invest because of that? I'll be careful about it. That's my take.
I would agree with you. I think it's a good one. And, and I'll, just to come back to it, was one of the questions that we had as we were starting this is there's a difference when you're pitching, who you're pitching to. If you're pitching to someone that's like an angel group, for example, like Birmingham Angels, whereas if you were pitching to like eLab or something with Doug Neal and Paul Brown.
Venture capitalists, in general, are more interested in book value. Angel investor, in my opinion, looking for real value. What I mean by that, the venture capitalists invest other people's money, and the angels invest their own money.
Right on.
So when you invest other people's money, you're focusing on book value. So if you increase the book value, you're able to raise more money in the next fund and the fund after that. And in some venture capitalists in the last 6-7 years, after they got a couple exits out of the portfolio, sold the portfolio to a larger fund, consolidation. So in the decision-making process for venture capital, it's all about valuation of companies. That's the game they're playing. Angels looking for profitable companies. If I asked a couple of angel investors recently in my group, if you invest $1 million and I can give you, I'm just making it up, like 10% every year on your money for the next 20 years. He said, I'll take it any time in the week and twice on Sundays.
Yeah, exactly.
So the angels invest because they want to see business successful and profitable.
Right.
And for them, it's a long-term, game. uh, which is venture capital is more about the book value. So, um, do we invest in companies because we want them to exit and get a big check? Yes, but you can't sell me on it because if I look at probably 100 companies from any portfolio, how many of them said in the beginning we're going to exit in 3 years, and how many of them actually exited? Very small.
It's true.
I'm actually will be more interested in founders that instead of dreaming of $350 million exit, will be able to sell the company for $150 million, within 3 or 4 years. I had a conversation with the founder about it. And he said, yeah, if I'm going to hang out the company for another 3 years, we probably can get the value to ha, ha, ha. And I say, possibly, but you can also fall off the cliff because a year in tech company is like 6 years in traditional businesses. So you hang out for 3 more years, you may get there, but you may get off the cliff.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, I can show you that if you take 150 million today instead of 300 million in 3 years, you can actually end up with more money in 10 years from now than waiting for the other thing. So a lot of founders don't understand the value of capital and how to leverage it. So some of them become stubborn about it. But I don't think in the next 10 years, I don't think we're going to see those corporate companies, the big tech giants and alikes, going to spend that fortune to buy startup companies like they used to anymore.
So you think it's going to be more, what do you think are going to happen more of the startups? Are going to be acquired by themselves or medium-sized companies?
I actually see interesting, again, my assessment, I think that we'll see a lot of, it's kind of new, maybe a new profession, if you will.
Yeah.
You're going to find a lot of those M&A guys that used to do traditional M&A going to start buying and consolidating startup companies.
Makes sense.
Together and bundle them together. But many of the big players now building more and more in-house foundries and in-house entrepreneurship and in-house venture funds to bring companies on board. So you're going to see less and less company going crazy and writing billion-dollar checks to buy a company. And if they do, they'll do it much earlier. So founders need to realize that the billion-dollar exit, or the unicorns are imaginary creature anyhow.
Literally.
Yeah. So it's like I'm going to become a unicorn is not necessarily a positive thing.
No, it's not. And it's funny because just over the course of my life, how different we value businesses. The venture mind, the angel mind has a different mind than what you typically would find. So please.
No. And so we kind of talking about, continue the conversation about the pitch perfect, right?
Right.
So there's the visual aspect of the pitch. How do you structure the information, all the stuff, and
Sure.
then there's the language of investors.
Okay.
The language of investors. Again, I'm speaking from the angels investors community. I'm not the VC,
Right.
from the VC or the private equity. So it's a different voice. They are experienced business people. They are people that build $300-400 million companies.
Mm-hmm.
They've been there in the trenches, swiping the floor to putting the tires on the car to do the spreadsheets and the finance and everything. So they do everything in between. So they are operators.
Right.
Right. So they have a key listening to what I call black and white language versus, a gray area language, which a lot of founders have a tendency to speak. It's come from lack of confidence. No offense to anybody, but, people use expression like, we believe that. Every time somebody says, I believe, my ing is ringing. Don't tell me you believe. Tell me I'm asserting, or I know, but don't tell me I believe. What's belief got to do with that? I don't care what you believe. I can care what you can prove and what you can show me, but don't what you believe. So, or kind of, or like something. No, use the language, state something as a statement, a trial statement. We are the only one. You can say we are among a few that I know of, but you don't tell me I'm the only one. You can never be the only one. Never, ever. I don't think ever. The market size is, because instead of my target is this, or we'll try, to do instead of we are going to.
We will succeed
Right.
at.
And then the other piece of it is using all the lingo that the investor don't understand, term from the industries. Like you speaking it like it cools that you know it, but the investor is looking like, what?
Commonly in tech, people use acronyms without understanding what the acronyms actually mean, and the investors have no idea.
Yeah.
Why would they know? They don't. That's not their business.
So your job is to simplify the language to explain it to me as a lame term.
Yes.
Unless I tell you I know what you're talking about, but you have to be careful making statements that you can back up with data, using word like I believe so, or things that kind of leave you a little bit unclear. What do you mean you believe so? I don't believe. I mean, if Michael Jordan didn't believe that he can shoot to the basket, he just shoot to the basket. It's like, different things. So there's a language for investors that they're very keenly listening to. And the other one is the pace. Some people have a tendency to speak very fast, and you try to cram a lot in one sentence.
Mm.
And it's like it's moving so fast that you're moving fast with your speech, and the investors still try to catch up with the last two sentences. Slow down, slow the hell down, and once in a while stop and say, let people kind of digest it for a little bit before you keep going. Sometimes founders have a tendency to talk and not let somebody else talk because they can be with silence, or they're afraid they're going to be asked too many questions, so you can tell, in those nuances, what's going on in their head. And plus, if you answer questions, don't answer questions that have some ambiguity into them. So it's like, how much money do you need? About $2 million. I can't write you a check for about $2 million. I can write you a check for $1 million or $2 or $1.5 million, but what is about $2 million? Or what's the interest on the note? Negotiable. What do you mean it's negotiable? It's like start somewhere. I mean, it's like 6%, 5%, 10. It's okay if you're going to say between 8 to 10, okay? But don't leave it kind of open-ended, or when you ask a question you don't know the answer, it's better to look me in the face and say, I have no clue, but I can find out, instead of blurbing something just to fill the gap. And you can tell in a minute that you can go like, And I tell founder, watch out, because some investor are baiting you into it. They know the answer, just want to see if you know. So the whole pitch, perfect. It's about practice. I used to play basketball. So, for every game we played, we spent a week on the court shooting balls and doing drills and all this stuff. I mean, it's no different. You have to practice. You have to put a couple people in front of you with a cup of coffee and pitch them and get some feedback from them, and then find some other people. And, I met one founder in New York. A very interesting character. I mean, his company actually was successful and acquired a couple of years ago, I heard. But he got a coach, and then he was a very shy guy, very techie guy kind of thing. But then his coach told him that he needs to practice. So one day he just barked up. So he went to one of those bars in New York, I think the Duck, which is like a lot of Wall Street guys after work, and stood in one of the stool in the middle of the bar and says, okay, I got a pitch, and I want honest feedback from all of you guys. And he just did the pitch in front of all the people, and probably about 150 people. And then he said, after I was done, I was thinking that I'm just going to jump out of the Empire State Building. I was so thing. He says, but the truth to be told, the first investor actually invested is somebody that was in the crowd that day.
Wow.
So he said, but that after that pitch, I could stand in front of anybody.
Yes.
So you can tell who's nervous, who never done it before, and it's okay. The investor is not here to shoot you. It just for your sake, give yourself that confidence by practicing and and let somebody take the pitch deck that you put together and go to a couple other founders and a couple other unofficial people. Say, hey, go through it, cross over, whatever. Give me your feedback. Don't assume that what you think it's the right thing, it's the right thing.
Well, and I think that you said it very accurately. It's good to get a coach, somebody, a mentor, a friend, a colleague that's been through there that can it's not necessarily smarter. It's just a little bit further up the path that can say, hey, this is what you're going to want to look for as you're walking down this road.
Right.
And I think that for me, the hardest thing to do was forget everything I thought I knew, about pitching. When I came into a coach, I had to come in and say, okay, teach me. I mean, yeah, I need to just kind of forget what I think I understand.
Right. Because, ultimately, at the end of the day, investors sitting in a crowd listening to you, they want to look for something that they can put their money, make some good in the world in the process. Great, but that's not the main, motivation for investor necessarily. Some do, but, I appreciate Kevin O'Leary when he was in Detroit in one of the events that they did like a speed pitching, like 4 or 5 company pitched him live over there with the crowd and all that.
Yeah.
And one of the guys said at the end of the pitch, like, yeah, and 10% of my revenue is going to go to support, And Kevin stopped him and said, listen, I got my own causes I'm supporting enough. I don't need yours. I mean, whatever you want to do with your money when you make money, you can give it to whoever you want. You expect me as an investor to invest in your company because you want to give money away to somebody, my money away to somebody else?
It's a good point.
Right.
Let me ask you a different question. And this is one that it's just been kind of thinking about here a little bit, is that, most of the founders, when they view like angels and VCs, it's very transactional. It's like you're going to see the banker. Like, I'm going to PNC and I'm going to be formal and I'm going to present and I have to put myself in a certain way in a certain area. But most of the things that, especially when you're in the angels, it's relationship based. You're investing in me because you know me as a founder and to some extent as a human being, because the average relationship, the length of our time together is going to be long. So it's good if we can work together. You have to understand that. And so a lot of the founders that I know, they run in, they don't do any research on anybody inside of the organization they're going to pitch. They run in with their pitch deck. They show up 5 minutes before. They say, where can I set up? They pitch and then they leave. Why would somebody invest in you if it's transactional?
I was just about to say this, exactly what you just said. We have this event here every month. We're putting some time and effort. We bring the investors together. People usually like to stay and hang out, drink a glass of wine. And the founders come in, they pitch, and they said, I have to go. And I'm like, you got the investors sitting in the room here. They want to get to know you just a little bit. Why are you living?
Yeah.
It's almost like they relate to it as a transactional. I come talk to the investor and then I leave. Like, you go to the bank to sign up for a loan and then you leave. It's like, okay.
That's what I mean. And I think that it's our fault, the founder's fault, because we don't understand. We're like, okay, we're just all business. No. Business is personal. You need to understand who we are.
Right.
And so, and actually, I mean, I really enjoy your events. I've had a lot of fun. You've got a great group of people too. Even if I wasn't, like I said, even if I'd never had anybody invest in them, I'd still show up because it's a good time. And I also learn a lot. So
you never know. I would tell one story to finish this segment. I was, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I was doing some advising, business coaching on the side.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Starbucks one day in West Bloomfield, and I'm talking on the phone, and I said something about coaching or something, I don't know. So when I got my coffee and I'm about to read, there's 2 elderly ladies sitting in the table, and one of them kind of touched me gently, stopped. She said, I heard you talk about business coaching. And I said, yes. And she said, my partner and I, she pointed to her friend, starting a new business. And we thought about talking to a coach. Would you mind if we buy you a cup of coffee? I'm sitting there and they talking about doing some store on Etsy or something. And I said, listen, ladies, I mean, I admire what you're doing, especially in the third age group. I don't think I'm the guy for you because what I'm doing is something completely different. And I think it's also going to be too expensive for you guys. And but if you once in a while to grab a cup of coffee here and run some stuff by me, I'd be glad to. She said, I appreciate it very much. Can I get your card? I gave her a card. And a week later, I get a call. You know who was his husband? He was the CEO of Dow Chemical. So
There you go.
you see
There
what
you
I'm
go.
saying? You never
you go.
know to the degree of separation you have from that CEO of, Dow
Yeah.
Chemical. So networking with people, it's not about pitching what you want to get out of it. Actually, somebody told me that somebody I admire very much in business said to me, networking is not about going to see what you can get. Networking is about going and see what you can give.
Yes.
So we'll leave it as that.
That was well said. I
So-
think that's a nice way to close.
Pitch perfect. Practice until you have enough, and then practice more. Wait for the next episodes. We're going to talk about some more interesting things about angel investing. Tim, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's have a fabulous week.
Outstanding. Thanks, Doron.
Are you interested in becoming a member and joining our group? Please contact Doron York by phone 248-981-6688 or visit our members' website by using the following QR code. We are looking forward to talking to you soon.